Well, let's go to St Thomas's Hospital first. Our correspondent Sangita Myska is there. And how much are you hearing, Sangita?
Well, Jen, as you know, we're getting intermittent details about what is happening to Boris Johnson. Actually, not directly from the hospital, which is of no great surprise because doctors tend not to give an ongoing commentary about any patients, let alone the Prime Minister. Information coming out of Downing Street intermittently. The last update we had was just before lunch, and there were three key points from that, really. One is that the Prime Minister remains in intensive care, that he's responding to treatment, and that he is clinically stable. What we can do is then combine that with what we know from last night, which was the time of the last update, which was 7 o'clock, when we were told that he wasn't on a respirator, but he was being given oxygen treatment. So what does that mean? Well, oxygen treatment is likely to mean that he's either getting oxygen through a nasal tube or through a mask. But crucially, that oxygen is not being pumped at pressure into his lungs. That, of course, would be a respirator. So how do we decode that? Well, what that means is that he's certainly not so ill that he needs to be put on a respirator with a tube, with a very invasive procedure at this point. What we also know is that he's able to communicate. How do we know that? Because we're told repeatedly now that he is in good spirits. All of that, a cautiously optimistic tone. But, of course, as with this story throughout, that information comes with a caveat, which is that this is a new virus, that people respond very differently to it depending on a range of factors. And those factors can be anywhere between your age, underlying health factors like a heart condition or diabetes. It can be to do with your general well-being. We do know the Prime Minister has been under a huge amount of strain, working very, very hard for a very, very long period of time, and that actually predicting what happens next is something that no doctor is willing to do right now.
Sangita Myska at the hospital. Thank you. Let's talk as well.